All right. All right. So we are back and live with Chop It Up TV. So basically, um, the reason for this impromptu session of ours
Impromptu.
today, impromptu. Yes, it is
Yeah.
impromptu. According to the to what's being put out there, I have actually checked and verified the source because I don't want to come out here and just say some stuff that is not accurate. Jada Pinkett, her reaction to the whole situation with Will Smith slapping Chris Rock on her behalf. Okay, she claimed she agreed Will Smith overreacted and that she is not a female that needs protecting. She can protect and defend herself. Now, what do you make of a statement?
So what I make of the statement is, I feel that more than anything now, Will needs that support from her. I do. He's already out there. He's losing endorsements and things. To me, the last thing he needed. I'm sorry for the echo. Um, is his wife saying she didn't need she didn't need his help. She didn't need him to defend her. That's just not what he needs at this moment. I don't think it puts Jada in a good light. And I've heard other women on social media make this same. They made the same statement, but it's different when it's your actual wife, your actual partner who you were trying to defend, saying it. I hate to have to disagree with my girl Jada. That's my birthday twin, but I don't agree with the statement that she made. To me, I wish she would have just said nothing instead of making that statement. Personally,
Yeah, I think it goes deeper than just her making that statement. On the surface, it's almost like, okay, what the hell are you saying, Jada? Number one, I strongly believe, like I said previously when we did the first segment last week, when this whole thing broke up, I believe Will Smith got up and slapped Chris Rock because Jada said so. It was unspoken. Okay? She looked at Will Smith, and it was almost like Will Smith became her attack dog right in that moment. Like, dude, you laughing at that joke? You know what to do. He got up, went out there, trying to go out of his way to please a woman who does not deserve any pleasing. As far as I'm concerned, she does not deserve that kind of so-called protection. And then people actually came to her defense and Will Smith thinking, "Oh yeah, we've never seen a black man defending a black woman like that, so he was in the right for protecting," which kind of makes sense, if you look at it on the surface. But at its core, on the deeper level, you look at the situation. My question to you is, why didn't she hold stop prevent Will Smith from going up there when he got up? Why didn't she stop him from going up there in the first place before we get to all of this recent comment?
okay. So the thing about that is, I can't necessarily blame her because they're all in the moment. I gotta say this. They all were in the moment. So in the heat of the moment, we're asking her to think quick on her feet. Tell them not to go. Like I think they're all reacting, including Will, even including Chris. Everybody had to play. Okay, what do I do now? I think it's hard to say. Well, why didn't she go up there and pull him back? Maybe in the moment she was pissed off about what was, and she did look at her husband and wanted him to say something. I mean, I don't know very many women who don't say something to the like. If someone disrespects you in front of your man, how many women, for the most part, don't want a man to say anything or do anything? I don't know very many. I mean, I just don't. Um, so did she like how he did it? No, but maybe she did look at him like, you're not going to defend my honor in some manner, but maybe she didn't want him to do it in that way. But to say why she didn't stop him now, that's another thing. I don't know.
Listen, as a woman, women like to say, I want a man who can provide, protect, and what's the three P's? Provide, protect, and something else. What's the other one I'm missing? Right? You want a man who can protect, but at the same time, a real man wants a woman who has his back.
Absolutely.
Okay, if I'm
Period.
protecting you, I want to know that you have my back on every level, at every
100%.
time, in every scenario. That scenario was an opportunity for her to like, well, what you doing? Sit down, forget about that. It's not about me at this moment. It's your moment. She didn't have his back in that moment. Now the question is why? Why wouldn't you have your husband's back in a moment like that, his biggest night? Instead, you sat there and try to make it about you. Jada, I think there's a pattern over here. She always try to make every moment about her. You look at the two of them. Will Smith is obviously the biggest star. She is not. She is probably a B-rated Hollywood star. He's an A-list actor. He makes more money than her. It's always like an unspoken um, competition going on between her and Will Smith. And it doesn't have to be like that. You don't want your partner to be competing with you. You want your partner to work with you. That was not a moment for her to make it about her. It's not about you, honey. Sit down, let that man enjoy his moment. You should be there. Go ahead.
So we can't necessarily say that there's a competition. I have never picked up on her having a problem with him being successful, with him, her going toe for toe. Like, I didn't really get that she was actually had a problem with him and them being in competition. It's him being the A, her being the B. I do agree. It is something to think about. Why in the moment when you say, hey babe, no, if indeed you don't agree, right?
Right.
If you saw him get up, you saw the emotion, you saw, okay, because I know as someone who's been your wife for a very long time, you should know how your husband, when he's at that point, you should have seen that by now. So okay, that's that Will I
25
don't like
years.
seeing.
They've been together. They've been together for 25 years. So that was no excuse right there. They've been
Right.
together for.
So
I've been in situation. I've been in a situation. Not to cut you off. Wherein there was a situation that happened. I was having an issue with my brother at the time. It was a family gathering, and we were going back and forth. And my girlfriend, you know what she did in that moment? Even though she knew I was in the right, but she pulled me back from that situation. That's what she did. So I'm saying a good woman would know when to pull her man back, even though you are in the right. But that was not the right moment because we were in the family gathering. You get what I'm saying? And she pulled me back. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So a good woman will know when to pull her back. That's how you say, I need a woman who got my back. You get what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to be.
I agree.
So she failed miserably in that regard. That's the first thing. I'm just surprised a lot of people didn't pick on that. I picked on it because I re-examined the whole situation. I'm like, wait a minute. How come she didn't even tell him, hey, where you going, Will? Forget that. Come back here. Forget it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was a blown moment for her right there. And that's the first. And I also noticed Will Smith, since that red table talk, this dude is like he's completely lost himself. Completely. That dude is out of it. That reaction for Will Smith, completely not his character. His mom even said it. He was out of character. What do you make of that?
I agree.
What do you make of
I
that?
feel like that was kind of a no-brainer that he clearly was acting out of his norm. This is not the Will we usually see. So, okay, there has been a lot of commentary about what's going on with Will Smith. A lot of different layers. I agree. We really don't know, but we've kind of seen from Red Table Talk, because we can only blame Jada so much. We can't like.
Oh, she's getting all the blame, ma'am. She is. Who else can we blame for that behavior right there? Who else can we blame? I'm with him.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Though I have been Team Will, and I will continue to support Will in this. This technically
I support Will too, but that's not the point.
This actually still lies on Will.
It does, because as a grown man, you're responsible for your own action. Yeah. But we are saying the external factors. Who is to blame?
She played a part, right? So when she saw him get up, even still, like, I'm trying to go further. there's a part that she has to take her part into. So, for example, when he looked over to her and he saw how she responded, as women, especially when you're with a man, sometimes, not saying there's a level of control, I'm not going to say that, but you notice certain things that because he loves you, and let's be clear, I understand that Will did that for ego and whatever, but he also did it because he actually loved a woman. Let's just call it what it is.
Of course, he loves her. He loves Jada. It's no secret.
He loves her. So he's looking for her. She's now upset. I'm gonna do something now. That's where you can't say you can technically fault her, because at that point she could have either pulled it in and said, no, babe, I know I am pissed off, but I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate that. But let's hold off on that. She could have done that. She could have. So that is her part.
Well, you see, I don't want to be speculative over here, but as far as I can see, I'm only going off of what I know and what they put out there in the media. I watched that Red Table Talk, and I could see, number one, she didn't take no accountability. It's almost he was gaslighted. She was gaslighting the whole time. He was gaslighting too, to protect her. And I looked at that. I'm like, damn, this is a serious psychological abuse right here going on. It was just hard to watch. And you see that situation taking place. You just know that, okay, this is a situation where this dude is head over heels for this woman, and she is clearly not. Clearly, she's not. And when in a relationship, when you get to a point wherein you constantly need the validation of your partner, you're in the wrong place. And that's probably part of the reason what led him to do that dumb shit right there. Because he needs her validation. He needs to prove to her constantly, you know what I'm saying? That I love you. You are my girl. I can do this for you. That's a dangerous girl.
When you're in a relationship with someone and you love the person, and this is your heartbeat. A lot of times you are wanting to please that person. Now, not to the detriment of yourself, no. But a lot of times you will, you want that validation from your partner. I can't knock them for that.
When you start going overboard, pleasing someone at your own detriment, that's a problem.
It is.
I don't care who it is, whether it's your wife, whether it's your mom, whether it's your daughter, it doesn't matter who it is. You don't go above and beyond to please someone at your own detriment.
I agree.
That's a recipe for disaster. And that's what's going on right here. Will Smith can do no right in her sight. There was another video out there on the internet. This guy went and did everything to make her 40th birthday the biggest thing. He contacted Mary J. Blige, all these top celebrities, and and you know what she told him? She told him some dumb shit like, it's almost like you're trying to stroke your ego to please me. That was her response. For a guy who's doing everything in his power. This dude's been planning it for 3 years to make her happy. And her response was, you were stroking your ego to please me. And this is insanity.
Hold on. Because I did watch a Red Table Talk that they had about their relationship. It's been a while, but they talked about the first half of their marriage where everything was Team Will. Will got what he wanted. Will wanted the kids the way a certain way. He wanted his wife a certain way. And she said, I was on board for it, but I was burnt out because I was tired. I was tired of this Will. And they talked about his ego. That many of the things that he wanted was about him and how he thought things should flow. Now, I'm going to bring the birthday part into it. What if the birthday was about him? Now, because sometimes okay, let's just say you have a partner who likes private, intimate things. That's what they do. They want just a small setting of their loved ones. That is what brings them happiness. You, on the other hand, want to outlandish, over the top. I want the very best. You're not thinking about that person. That's how I took that. But I see how a man could be like, what do you mean? I gave you the best, but did you give me what I wanted? I could be wrong.
When you giving it, that's why it's called a gift. All right? It's called a gift. You don't always get to say, well, this is what I want. You
But
take
what
away
about what
the
the
surprise.
partner? So now it's about the gift of what you want to give me, not what I need, not what makes me happy. It's about what you want to do.
Wait a minute. You know, when my birthday come around, I don't go and say, babe, you give me this for my birthday. I appreciate it because you know what? At the end of the day, you took your time to put it together and so to surprise me. I appreciate it. I'm not gonna question that. Say, oh, did you do it because to stroke your ego? That don't make no sense.
No,
It
listen.
makes no
What I'm
sense
saying
whatsoever.
here is your woman, however long y'all been together, she should know you. She should have learned you. She should understand what brings Rodney joy, right? She should pay attention to that, especially if she rocking with you. If she comes and gives you something, yes, there's nothing wrong with spoiling people and giving them the best over the top. If that's what they want. I'm gonna give you an example. I know women who want huge, lavish weddings. That's what they want. And then there's other of us who don't mind going to the justice of the peace. So if you marry someone who's like, well, I want you to have the best babe, and you tell them, well, the best babe to me is just something private, me and you, your parents, my parents, and they're like, no, I want you to have the best. You're not listening. Do you get what I'm saying? You're not listening. It's not that I'm not appreciative, but we should be trying to make.
So are you trying to? So my question to you is, are you telling me that was the case? That Will Smith went and got? You don't know that. You don't know if that's the case. Well, they've been together for 25 years. I don't think Will Smith is dumb enough not to know that his wife wouldn't appreciate a birthday party. Who does not appreciate a birthday party? I don't know anyone that does not appreciate a birthday party. I just don't know.
Based on the red table talk that she gave, that was kind of how she described it. Was that everything was about what Will wanted, and that could be one of the dynamics that they struggle with. Is that it was based on what Will, and eventually she said she snapped, and she said I couldn't be that woman anymore. That might be why we getting the Jada that we getting today. I don't know, but she's
listen. As far as the wedding goes, he wanted a big wedding. She said no. So I don't know all that stuff you're talking about.
That was just an example. It was just an example, not for her.
Your example doesn't really hold water. Okay. Now, this is just a tip of the iceberg. We're just laying the foundation of the topic that we're about to actually dissect, because what's in the news right now is Jada Pinkett saying Will Smith overreacted. We all can agree he overreacted, but she is good enough for something to defend herself. She can protect herself. She doesn't need a man to protect her. And when I first heard that, I was like, wait a minute. Are you really seriously putting it out there like that? Is that a comment that you really want to put out there in the heat of the moment when your husband is going through hell, and you, the very person that he went out there and put his neck out in public and embarrass himself to please you, and you're going to come out here and make a statement like that? When I heard that, I was like, no, this is not a wife material. She's not a wife material. I'm sorry. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
So I don't agree. I don't agree. I feel like, to me, my husband made this decision. I'm sticking with my husband. That's me. But I have seen multiple women make that same statement regarding this issue, is that they don't need a man to defend them. They don't need that. That is not what's required. Like, I could have defended myself. So she's not alone in that. Let's be clear. She's not alone.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait. What? So you changing your tune? Last week you were all for we want black men to protect black women. We don't see that very often. So this week the tune is different.
No, the tune is not different for me. The tune is not different for me.
It is different.
I stand behind very much so. I stand behind. I'm saying what I'm telling you, that she's not alone in her thinking with this particular statement. I have seen it all the last 2 weeks. That's what I'm saying. Me, I want mine defending me. I stand by mine. But there are other women who do agree with her that they don't want a man to do that for them. And Hey, I'm saying for me, I don't agree with Jada coming out saying it. I think that's the last thing that we'll need it at this point.
Definitely, that's the last thing. So that, you know what I say? Kevin Samuel is actually vindicated by that very statement. That's it. Kevin Samuels is vindicated.
Please help me. Follow that comment through this. Help me understand.
Okay, I'm gonna break it down for you. So now, the call message of Kevin Samuels is modern day independent men, right? Feel like they don't need a man, feel like they can do their own thing. There's this double standard. That's his call message. Now, when Jada comes out and make such an egregious statement, such an ungrateful statement, that just makes Kevin Samuels look like a God sent. Clearly, that just makes Kevin Samuels look like a God sent.
There's nothing that can make
Don't
Kevin
you see?
Samuels
Don't you
look
see
like
the
a
point?
God sent? Be clear, nothing.
He looks like a God sent. How can you argue with Kevin Samuels?
Jada should have said, she should have kept her mouth shut at this point. If she wasn't going to come out in defense of Will and support of Will, I feel like because so many little fires are being built because of this. Like, the people are gunning for him. He needed her on his side. He needed her. That's the thing. And that's where I'm at. Will did not need that statement made. I don't care how nobody else tried to spin it. He needed her to come out and say, I'm in support of my husband. He needed her. So whatever.
You see, that's the problem with today's, and I'm gonna go Kevin Samuels on you guys now. I'm sorry, Kevin Samuels, and now I'm beginning to see even more why Kevin Samuels is relevant, right? I'm beginning to see why he's very much so. His message is relevant, and he himself is relevant, in the conversation of today's relationship topic. Period. Whether people like it.
How?
I'm telling you now. Give me a chance. Okay. Now I'm gonna be very clear. I do not condone his approach. I do not condone the way he disrespects women. I do not condone his condescension when he speaks to women. I do not condone that. But at its core, his message is relevant. His message and his point, very much so valid. There's so much double standard. On the one hand, you want a man. On the other hand, you don't want a man to protect you. Which is which? I'm confused. I am very much confused. How can you be in a relationship, in a solid relationship, and go with all this independent woman stuff like Jada Pinkett just did? That man went all the way, and embarrassed himself on national TV, actually international TV, to protect you. He did it for you. He did it because you looked at him, and he got up and he did some dumb shit that is out of his character. And you are out here putting out a statement about, I can protect myself? How does that make any sense? Now my question to you is, what is the place of a man in the household? That leaves a lot of men feeling, well, you know what? What's the point in getting married? What's the point in committing to any one of these women today who just think, I'm independent, I make my own money, I can do my own thing, I can take care of myself. I don't, or like, what is the point in having a man to be committed to you? Because you are taking away one of the core aspects of a man, which is to protect you.
Now, I agree quite a bit with what you're saying as far like, okay, saying you want one thing and then saying something else. However, protection is not just one aspect. Protecting her with allowing her to be in a safe space. Like, protection is not just.
Protection is a key aspect.
Say it again.
Protection is very essential to the relationship.
But there's different layers to protection. So, like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like the modern day modern day woman, the modern day woman, to me, she gets beat up on because she doesn't want to live life in an older traditional sense. Whereas we also have a modern day black, I don't want to say black man, a modern day man as well. So it's like we changed. So what's wrong with a woman saying, like, hey, I personally feel like, in my opinion, had Will sat there and done nothing, she would have still been upset. Not only would she have been upset, the audience would have been upset because you didn't. So to me, Will was he couldn't win either way. It was a lose for him. It didn't matter. But
he could have win. The problem is, and I don't want to cut you off, but I think I need to address this. The bigger issue is Will Smith has lost himself in the relationship. He has lost his way. He has lost himself as a man in that relationship. I don't care what anyone says. Because if you're a real man, there's no way you're going to sit there and let your wife just look at you and you get your butt up and do something that you've never done before and embarrass yourself on the biggest stage. That's not a manly move right there. That tells me he has lost his way. And that's the danger in relationship. I've come close to losing myself in a relationship for one person before. One. Came this close. Not like Will Smith though, but just a notch close. And I cut myself real quick. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know, I was with someone who was like, she had an abusive past, and so it was very bad. But when I came to realize her past, and then I began to put one and two together, I'm like, okay, that explains why she's like this. She does not admit to anything wrong. Never ever. No accountability. She's always playing the victim, and the insecurity level was super high. I remember there was one time I was actually ready to do a shoot, and I was using a friend of mine to do the shoot. And then she went, and she said, we were on the phone, right? I was on the phone with her. And then she goes, oh. And I said, okay, I'm going to hang up. Let me call this girl so I can schedule my shoot. And she goes, why don't you stay on the phone and do a three-way? And I said, no, I'm not doing that. And she said, oh, well, something is off because you've been on the phone with me all day. Now, you don't want to do three-way. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And that became a big fight. And so when I got off the phone, I was like, wait a minute, I've been accepting a lot of bullshit from this chick for her to get to this point. You know what I'm saying? For her to get to this point, to interfere with my business. How did we come to this point? I'm like, this is not me. So right after that shoot, it was done. And you see, that's the problem with Will Smith. He has allowed his wife to cross the line till they got to that point. It didn't just start at the Oscars. That's something that's developed. It's been progression, a constant progression. And he allowed it because of love. He allowed it. Sometimes principles precede love. That's all I got to say about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I still feel like it's a whole lot of blame being put on Jada. And I'm trying to figure out, if we're talking about the dynamic of their relationship and what took place, Will has to take accountability for this woman can only do but so much. So you might be looking at a situation, okay, let's call it what it is. Maybe she could have done something differently, but I'm going back to your point with bringing in Kevin Samuels in this. That's a big no for me.
Oh yeah, but I'm with Kevin Samuels 100% right now. He looks real good.
I'm not understanding how this is a modern day woman's situation here, when it's just that you have to take accountability for your actions. At some point in time, you allowed these things to take place. Just like she got to take accountability for her stuff. Again, I go back to, she said in the beginning, she allowed everything to be led by him, and she was tired. She was burnt out. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they did a switcheroo. I don't know. But I'm trying to figure out how this isolated event, this one woman, and this one man, how does this make Kevin 100% valid?
Well, I wouldn't say 100%. I'm saying this vindicates Kevin Samuels because his core message is about modern day women. Modern day women trying to change the narrative. Modern day women trying to change, the traditional role of what a relationship is supposed to be, the traditional role of a man in a household. So that is his core message. I gave you an example of 2 weeks ago, an example of how my mom and dad, used to be in the household, right? But that was a traditional form of relationship. And I understand, right? Those were different times. That was the 80s and the 90s, right? They were different times. I concede that. I understand. I'm all about compromising. I'm not just an idealist, right? I'm a realist. I understand you got to move according to the time. There has to be some level of balance. I get it, right? The fact of the matter is, the days of our parents, they didn't really have the opportunity that today you and most of the young, educated Black women have today. The opportunity to go out and work and compete with a man. That was not a viable proposition at the time. It was not available. The opportunity was not there, and the mindset of people at that time was the woman, you stay home, and the man, he's the provider. I get it. Times have changed, but time shouldn't change to a point that we forget what the tradition, what the core of a family structure is supposed to be, and that's what Kevin Samuels' point is. Yes, we have moved into the modern world. The job market is different today. Women have more opportunity. I still understand on the dollar, probably the male counterpart makes more money compared to the female. I still get it. I understand, but maybe in a few years that will change, right? But the point is, just because women have the same opportunity to go out there and compete in the job market and compete and make money and be independent and provide for themselves, that does not change the fact that a man is still the head of the household. It does not change that fact. And that doesn't make a woman less than. It doesn't make the man the boss. I think this is a conversation that needs to be held in every forum possible, because if not, things are not looking good, especially for the Black family structure. It's not looking good. It's looking bleak. We need to refocus our attention on what was working for our parents and come to a compromising point so we can move forward.
I think you make a valid point. I do think there's been a lot of change, but there is a certain type of structure. I feel that what needs to happen, what could happen, what would possibly be a great help, is there being a conversation for women and men, because there has been such a different change. I feel like for a long time, I don't know about this new woman that you guys refer to, but I can speak for my age group. Many of us saw situations where things were, again, I keep saying, abused. It was abused. So when we talked about, I think a few weeks ago, we talked about submission and being submissive. That it was abused. So now when you say this word to a woman, she tunes out. She can't hear you anymore because it's been abused. And many times men were not taught really how that word rolled too, because a lot of times they would, need a woman to submit, What does that mean? Give me something to submit to. Or I need to be head of the household. What does that look like? Okay, you're the head of the household, but you're poor at your finances. But I'm supposed to be able to submit to poor finance. What if I'm stronger with the money than you are? So it's kind of like it's a balance. We can work it out. It's a whole other conversation for another day. I get it, but I feel like we both could have a conversation about the way things have changed. And you used a great word, compromise, on both ends though. And I feel like both sides are butting heads, and no one really wants to hear the other. That's how I see it.
I think the external factors, we cannot ignore the external factors, the role of the media, right? The mindset of society, the trend, right? Everything else plays a role. And then we cannot ignore the historical aspect, the impact of slavery, leading up to the civil rights movement. You talk about all these women's suffrage that led to the rights of women, and then the feminist movement kicked in, right? And that actually permeated through the black family structure, and that was not a good look for the black family structure at all. The feminist movement played a huge role in destroying the black family structure.
So I get kind of quiet on the feminist talk because I am not a feminist. And that is very unpopular, and it's because I feel that the feminist movement is a white woman's thing. That's my thing. I feel that way. I felt that way for a very long time. So I do not claim to be a feminist, but I am for the rights of women. I care about the rights of women. But talking about being a feminist and things like that, I look at the history of it. It does not support black women. It just doesn't. I don't care. We hopped on this train, and you still hadn't got the need to be as a black woman. So the feminist thing, I don't relate with people on that. But again, that's a touchy subject for some. But I am not a feminist. So.
Well, for me, it's not about whether you're a feminist or you're not. For me, I'm looking at the impact of the feminist movement on the black family structure.
Absolutely.
That's all. That's all.
You
That's all I'm looking
from the whole that you have a lot of women, black women, who hop on it. That's part of this modern black woman. I keep saying black modern woman thing coming from is because a lot of it has to do with feminism. This just is what it is. Like, it's a big portion of it, but you're not really looking at that. That's not even your real fight. So it still has a part, but many of black women claim to be feminists. So, but I agree with what you're saying, that that's not the focal point at the moment. I get it.
Yeah, and so again, now if we go back to Kevin Samuels, so you can see why that actually vindicates. You can see why it actually vindicates Kevin Samuels, because she was you sitting over there, there was no way Will Smith was happy, and he laughed at the joke. He was not gonna get up until he turned around and looked at you all serious, and then he got up and did what he did, and now you're putting out a statement about, I can protect myself. I don't need a man to protect me. What the hell do you want, Jada? Which is which? If you don't need a man to protect you, you could have just sat there and not be so serious and mad because he was laughing. Why were you serious and mad? Why did you look at him with a stink face then? You should have protected yourself.
That's
when Will was
telling me that I can't react. You telling me I can't react? She was pissed off.
Well, be pissed off at Chris Rock and respond to Chris Rock. Don't sit there and allow your husband. He got up and went up there, and you didn't say, "Hey, babe, where you going? Sit down. Forget this. Chill." Right? You didn't do that. And number two, you laughed after Chris Rock said, "Will Smith just slapped the shit out of me," and she was laughing. So I'm confused. You don't need a man to protect you, but you were laughing after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, right, on your behalf. I can see a lot of hypocrisy into this lady. I can see a lot of BS. That's why that's why people call her the Jezebel, and I can see why they call her Jezebel. It's ridiculous. And I'm just sad for my boy Will Smith. He's a great guy, but I think he's with the wrong woman. And it's not my place, but just off of the fact that they put their business out there, so we are talking about it today, right? They put their business out there, so, and when you put your business out there, it's open season for everyone. He's in the wrong place. It's sad. He's with the wrong woman. It's very obvious. For you to come out there and make a statement like that when your man is actually at his lowest point, really?
I would have to agree that I do feel that this was, I don't understand what yes, I do understand. I feel that what she did, it was, to me, it was damage control. I do not personally feel, that's what I think.
Damage control.
Think about it. You have just about the world on your husband, like taking Netflix deals. He can't vote into the academy. Like, they're basically kind of going down in flames a little bit. Well, not a little bit, going down. And I feel like she's saying, okay, I got these people in my face saying what I'm saying. I think she did choose self. I think she chose to say, hey, I'm going to have to come out and say that, one, we know the famous line that everyone said these last few weeks, I didn't in no way condone violence. Fine. So then you get that out. But I think she had to go further and saying, I'm an independent woman. I didn't need that. I feel like this is what she felt like she had to say. Now, it could be for self-preservation. Let's be clear. Because she's been asked, what was your opinion? What did you think about when Will did that? She had to speak up. So now she's in the hot spot. So she chooses to say, I can defend myself. I wouldn't want I don't need that. I'm an independent woman.
That is far removed from damage control.
I agree, but
she did more damage
for herself.
She did more damage with that comment
for him. I think she did it for him. I feel like she's gonna have a bunch of women who have been anti-Will Smith these last 2 weeks who are gonna be like, yeah, way to go, Jada. Absolutely, we don't need that. Yeah.
Listen, you have all these women out here, like Tiffany Haddish, when she was interviewed after the awards, and she said, yeah, it's refreshing to see a black man protecting a black woman. And you have numerous black women sharing similar sentiments. And now you're going to sit up here.
You're going to sit up here who did not.
I'm talking about the women who shared similar sentiments.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, where does that leave me if I'm a female who was out there defending Jada Pinkett and Will Smith? Now, and I'm seeing you putting out a ridiculous statement like this. Where does that leave?
I'm going to tell you where it leaves us.
What?
I'm going to tell you where it leaves us. Right where we were. I didn't change. Think about it. Just because Will came and apologized to Chris, just because she came and said, I don't condone it and I don't need that, that has nothing to do with women who really want it. We stand behind it because it's bigger than just them. It's the principle. To this day, even with Jada saying what she said, I want my man to defend me if a man says something slick. Period. I don't need Jada's thumbs up or thumbs down. I need to know, what do I want for myself? That's what I want. And I think Tiffany Haddish will do the same thing. I think she will keep on. I still want mine.
No, you can't have it. You can't have it both ways. I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. That's not how this goes. Just like my man, what's this coming? That's not how it goes. That's not how the story goes. That's not how it goes.
You can't have it like that.
You can't have it both ways. On the one hand,
you mean Jada. You mean Jada?
And it's not just Jada. It's you. How? It's all the other people. How? You telling me?
I was on the island by myself saying I supported Will. I never back down. So just because Jada says that she don't, how does that affect us?
Ma'am, listen to this. You can't have it both ways. You can't say on the one hand you feel like you should protect, that's Will Smith's right to protect your wife, and then you're gonna come up here and throw out a ridiculous statement about I can defend myself. That's a statement you keep in the bedroom, you keep in your house. That's a bedroom.
So are you saying that Jada speaks for all women?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for the people who are actually defending the fact that it is Will Smith's right to protect his wife. He was protecting his wife. Now, how does that look now? That's my question. It
looks the same way. Like Courtney B. Vance said the exact same thing about Angela Bassett. He said, if you put your hands on me, I'm gonna have a problem. I don't think he's gonna backpedal because Jada came out and said she don't need it.
Man, I think you're begging the question now. That's what you're doing, and you're begging the question. The fact of the matter is, she handled the situation terribly from the start. She handled this terribly from the start. There was no reason for her sitting over there and letting Will Smith get up without even stopping him. That's one. And she actually laughed after he slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. She laughed. Okay. And now you're gonna come out here and say, I can defend myself. I don't need a man defend. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about, Jada? Jada, Jada, what's wrong with you, Jada? Get it together, Jada. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Jada? Are you a strong black woman or are you a selfish black woman? What is this going on? She's selfish, and she has no sense of team player whatsoever. There's no loyalty on her part whatsoever, and she lacks dignity. Because a woman with dignity,
Jada the business tonight. That's all I
oh
can
yeah,
say.
there's no dignity, there's no class whatsoever. Zero.
So let me get this straight. Last time Will was corny. Will did it out of ego. Will basically, you try to play like you were this macho guy. Now this week, she don't have no dignity. She which one is it? Like, again, I'm standing on the same principle that I stood on. Our team Will, team support your woman. I don't understand why. I get the point of Jada. And where we're agreeing, Jada was wrong for this statement. Period. Period. There's no, I'm not going to contest you on that. But how is it that at one point Will is wrong as the day is long and you a coward, this, that, and the third, and then this week we blaming Jada? How? Who's really accountable here? To me, it sounds like Jada is the one who's basically, you got her and like she's Geppetto. She's just making him. She's like pulling like it's Pinocchio.
Listen,
he's a grown man. He also has to take accountability too for his actions.
Again, for me, I call it how I see it. Number one, as a woman, right? A woman wants a man to protect and provide.
I agree.
That's where I stand, and we all agree the man is supposed to protect and provide. Now, Will Smith is doing that very good. He's providing and he's protecting. If anyone can sit up here and say he's not protecting, that slap was heard around the world. It was. Now, if your man gets up, which is something that is very uncharacteristic of him, you as your woman, you've been with this man for over 25 years. Don't you think it's your obligation to say, hey, honey, what you doing? None of that happened. None of that happened whatsoever. And even when he came back and sat there and he was cursing at Chris Rock, she didn't say, hey, tone it down, baby. Cool it. None of that happened. I'm just calling it like it is. Calling it like it is. Sat there and she didn't even stop him and say, honey, chill. None of that happened.
And I feel that those are questions that could be asked of her when Will was, because you're right. Even after the slap, Will kept going. You're right. I never heard Jada in the background saying, Will, stop. Yeah, you're right. I never heard it.
She didn't do it.
To me, these are valid questions that she should be asked.
That tells me that's a woman who wants to be protected. That's a woman who wants to be defended. That's what that tells me. So don't come out here and tell me I can defend myself. I don't need a man to protect me. She's a fraud. That's what it is. It's simple as that. He married a fraud. And that's what he's getting. When you marry a fraud, you get played out, and love will make you do cheesy things. That's all. That's what talk about love. Love will make you do crazy things. Nah, love makes you do cheesy things. The wrong love will make you do cheesy things. That's just what it is. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up with love. That's not love, my man. You are lost. And I feel really bad for him.
Okay. Really bad. I mean, you've made some very valid points tonight. Some things that I agree with. I agree. There's just certain things tonight that you said that I can't disagree on. So, but then there's certain things that's like, I don't necessarily see it straight like you do. And so Brandy makes a good point. She's saying the same thing. My problem with her is she should have kept him from going up there. Technically, yeah. Like, there's conversations that technically Jada should be asked, well, what's going on? Because you watched the whole entire thing unfold. To come out now, which is why I said you should have just said nothing. If you were going to say something, if this is what you had to say, you should have said nothing. You have things that you should be answering for. Like you said, you saw her laughing. She heard him several times yell at this man, and no one ever said, I heard Jada in the back saying, Will, stop, cover his mouth, whatever you got to do. You didn't see it. These are technically questions that Jada should have to answer now that she made that statement.
Yeah, there were so many ways she could have handled that. She could have came out and say, yeah, well, I agree. We all understand my husband overreacted in trying to protect me. I get it. He overreacted and he has apologized for it. Our hope is we can move past this situation, and just pray for peace. That's something you could say. If you come out and say something like that, no faults. It's not like nobody will blame you for not giving your husband the blame. Number one, you do your duty by being objective, and you still with your husband. That's what you can be objective and still stand behind your man. Those two things can be true. But on this one, only looking out for herself, and that's a definition of a narcissist right there. Looking out for herself.
I agree with you there. I think she was looking out for herself in that statement. I do agree.
Very selfish. It's so tasteless. I'm just done. Jada. Cancel.
You've been coming up with Jada for weeks. Stop it. And all she had to do was make that statement, and boy, you pulled the trigger. Yep, just like I knew. Like you had a problem with her from we talked about this before.
And see, there you go. I was right. See that?
Whatever.
I said. She
said we don't know what he does to her behind closed doors. Maybe she has seen that rage in him and knew if she had tried to stop him, it would have escalated the situation. These are also this is something that you have to consider because we don't know. I agree. There could be different factors here, but I can say that technically, because Jada made that statement, to me, Jada should also come in and say something else. I mean, because right now it's not looking good for Jada.
Nah, Brandy, I'm sorry. That statement right there, it sounds good, but it's not very realistic.
How so? We don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna do this action without even talking, right? Watch my action. And
really? Really?
Now, that explains it right there. That explains it. So that's why that statement right there, I'm not buying it. Action speaks louder than words.
Now, hold on. Because she was upset. He rolled her eyes. Very strong. Yes, she did.
He got up. He got up.
And she saw him. She might know. Let's just use Brandy's theory. She might know, okay, I roll my eyes. We locked eyes for a moment. I know that when he gets riled up in rage, maybe I shouldn't have made that face. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe she was thinking in her head. Again, it's a theory. We don't know. Again, I think Jada should come out and say more. I think she should say more because she made that statement.
You guys, stop the patronizing. Stop trying to patronize us, okay? We're not gonna fall for the okie. We are not gonna fall for the okie doke. It's not gonna work. I'm gonna tell you. If you want to know more about the relationship, sit there and watch the Red Table Talk with the entanglement thing. Then you will know exactly what's going on. And you would know who's actually.
Finally, can I ask my question about the entanglement? Why does Jada catch so much grief about that entanglement situation? What is that about? Because no, seriously, tell me why men. Let's go there. Why do men have such an issue with Jada in that entanglement situation?
Number one, there was no accountability on her part. No accountability whatsoever. Zero accountability. There was zero accountability whatsoever. Zero. And she did not apologize for nothing. All she did was deflect. That's all she did. And she lied too. Because Will said at that point, we were almost like, at the brink of our relationship. It was not over yet. And she said, oh, it was over. That was a lie. It was not over. That's just to justify what she did with, the entanglement thing with the kid. I don't even know his name. August, what's his name?
August
Alsina.
Alsina.
Yeah. So come on. That's what I say. If you want to know the dynamic of that relationship, sit down for 5 minutes and watch the red table entanglement. You would know exactly who's running the show. You
So
would
let me
know
ask
who's
you this:
who's
regarding the
manipulating.
entanglement, are we saying that Jada cheated on this man and mistreated this man, disrespected this man through this the entanglement? Is that what we're saying? Is that how
Oh
people
yeah,
are picturing it?
yeah, she did. Oh, it's
Okay,
very obvious.
because I thought these people had an open marriage and they both could do what they did, and her stuff got out there.
That's not what Will said. Will said, they were going through a situation, and she said she's gonna figure out how to make herself happy. That was the thing. And Will said, okay, go. I'm gonna let you go figure out how to make yourself happy. That's what Will said. Will didn't say I gave you green light to go and cheat. But the most disgusting thing about that is that's the friend of the son. That's the most disgusting thing that no one is even talking about. She cheated with her son's friend. You see what I'm saying? That's the most disgusting thing. No one is even talking about that. So let's just leave that right there. For a woman to do stuff like that in your household, right? That means she has the upper hand in the household. There's no way, and be so comfortable, right, doing it, with impunity. That tells you everything you need to know. So to say, oh, we don't know what she's going through in the house, maybe Will is giving this outburst. Nah, come on, let's stop it. Let's not try to make Jada like she's Mother Teresa. No, she's not. Jada is the biggest problem.
Really? Jada is the biggest problem. I think you have a situation where you might have, like in most marriages, I think you got two different people with their own issues coming into something, and I think I'm not saying that it's equal. I'm not saying Jada is a saint. I'm not saying Jada don't have no blame here, but we're gonna have to put some stuff on Will. And
we do.
We can't. Like this woman been called Jezebel. Like you done brought Kevin Samuels into it. Like really.
Listen, we can definitely put some stuff on Will. One of the stuff we can put on Will is his name is Will and he has no will. So we're gonna put that on Will. Okay? How the hell your name is Will and you have no damn will? Will, I want to know that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to know. But like you said, love will make you do crazy thing. I said love will make you do cheesy thing. That's because that was a very cheesy thing, and he looked cheesy doing that shit right there. He looked really cheesy, So, we can close this Jada chapter knowing that she.
I think we're gonna just have to close it out. I do feel like Jada should come back out. Honestly, I think she should try to clean this thing up some because it's not looking good. It's just not looking good.
Yeah. If you would give one advice to Will Smith, what would you do? What would you say to him?
I wouldn't say leave your wife. I will not say that. But I will say that I feel like some more healing or something else is going on, and for him. And if it involves whatever, including your marriage, that's cool. But I feel like Will's biggest thing is to do some internal looking at himself, because I do feel like there's something going on personally. And I feel like Will, there's a deep therapy session, but I think there's one for Jada too. At the same time, I think there's one for Chris. Like, let's talk about that. I mean, I think this thing opened up a whole layers of several things that you see a lot of stuff that's unfolding, and I think Will and Jada both probably could both use more therapy, like many of us could.
Well, I agree. The whole therapy thing, I definitely agree. I think Black people, I've heard this before. Black people, we all need therapy. That's for sure. Some of us are in denial. Some of us know it. We're just not taking the step. I know it. I haven't taken the step, right? But again, some of us have no clue that we need it. But if I would give Will Smith an advice, I would say, dude, walk away from that. Count your losses and walk away from Jada, because she is not the one.
That they could very well go to therapy separately and maybe even together. I still feel like as a marriage, they could probably still make it work. I mean, I don't agree that they should have to go separate ways because maybe they both got some things they need to address within themselves. And so I'm not going to say that he needs to get somebody all to get away from her. No, maybe you guys need to get to the root of whatever the real problem is and see if it could work.
I mean, this woman is constantly embarrassing this man every time she has. Embarrassed Will Smith all the time on the internet. She got a lot of free time to do it. Like I said, she has a lot of free time, and the free time she has is to embarrass her husband in public. And that's not a woman for you. I'm sorry. I don't care what anyone says. There's certain situations you just need to walk away from. Your woman should be there to empower you as a man. Should be your number one supporter, not someone who constantly tear you down. And when you're the female who does not appreciate you, you walk away from that. And that goes both ways. If you're the female or you're the man who does not appreciate you, walk away from that situation. You don't have to overcompensate to please someone. You don't have to go to the extent or at your own detriment to make someone else happy. And that's what that's the mistake a lot of people make in relationship, trying to gain validation from someone who does not really give a damn about you. You should care about yourself enough, put your happiness first, not at the expense of someone else, and that's my last word.
I believe you. I mean, you make a good point, and there's certain things I can't disagree with you on quite a bit of it.
Love yourself, self-love.
It's unfortunate. Yeah.
Well, thank you for hearing me rant because I was coming for Jada, and I think I give her the business.
You sure did. You think when Kevin Samuel was threw me off. You know how I feel about your boy, but I'm gonna let you ride. You're riding high tonight, so I didn't want to say nothing. But
Kevin Samuels is looking.
Kevin into the conversation. That's all I'm saying.
Kevin Samuels, he's looking good. You can't deny it.
He's looking good. Terrible per usual. But I'm pretty sure when Jada came out today, all the Kevin Samuel lovers was like, I'm pretty sure they just the cartwheels. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I know they probably had a parade today. Bless their hearts. So I'm sure Kevin Samuels is somewhere having a celebrating tonight on his win for one for Kevin, I guess.
I just know my boy is. Let me tell you, there's a lot of females like Kevin Samuel. You'll be surprised.
That's unfortunate, but hey, you ain't gonna win them all. You can't win them all. So it is. It is. But yeah, this was an interesting conversation. I'm hoping that Jada comes better with something else, but if not, she's not looking good in my eyes right now at all.
So, it is trash. She's not a woman. She is not a woman. No, I'm sorry.
You're not gonna keep telling this woman she ain't a woman. I feel like she might be damaged. She might be like many of us might be. Like we're not gonna agree on this with telling Jada she ain't a woman.
She's not. I'm sorry. She is not. A woman is supposed to bring peace to her man. Okay. That's that's a key role of a woman. You're supposed to bring peace to your man, not drama, not headache. Okay, there's no reason for her not stopping Will Smith from going up there, but there's no reason for her not calming him down when he was cursing out Chris Rock. She failed miserably. Come on, let's cut it out. She'll be all right. I just feel bad for Will Smith. It's sad because he needs help. Definitely. It's unfortunate. He does, and I hope his mom can step in and intervene. Yep. Entanglement. What did you say?
It says, and as far as the entanglement BS, consider the following. Open relationships involve arrangements, which imply that both parties are aware of the terms. If Will knew, then why'd he start to cry? Good point. Maybe Will didn't know. I don't, because I feel like quite a bit of this is still speculation, and so it's a good point. I don't know if Will knew or not. I thought Will knew, but maybe he didn't.
Yeah, he probably knew, but I don't think he endorsed it like she made it look. That, and that's why I say she's manipulative, right? She is, because he said we were at the point of breaking up, and she went as far as saying, "Oh, it was over." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to justify her action. That's why she did that. And I'm like, oh man, I feel bad for Will Smith. You can see like this man. You can tell his soul left his body at that moment. Sitting at that red table talk. If you watch it, you just look at him. You can tell that guy was losing it. He was like, it was just. I felt so bad for him. He sat through that. I don't know how he managed to sit through that interview or that conversation, but his body was there, but his soul was not there.
I need to go back and watch this. I see. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it.
Even when he laughed, you can tell it's fake. Even when he speaks, you can tell it's just for the camera. It was just hard. It was embarrassing. It was hard to watch. It was. And she just sat there very comfortably. Like, so no ownership of anything, no accountability, no apology, and she was just breezing through the conversation like nothing. It was no big deal. And I'm like, this is this what's going on with this chick here? And that guy, you can see the pain written all over his face. Eyes, you can see it. I'm like, shit. I don't want to be in that situation. I'd rather stay single for the rest of my life. Like my boy Laverne said, I'll stay home with the dog.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again. I've only seen bits and pieces, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
All right. Well, thank you guys for taking off your beautiful evening. What is it? Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday,
It's
Thursday?
Wednesday.
What is it?
No, it's Thursday. It's Thursday.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. There was a George Floyd guy that was making some weird comments. I think he's more like one of those spam or something, whatever he is. Already blacked him.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for joining us for this impromptu. We had to jump in on this latest news of Jada. So thank everyone for joining us tonight.
Jada, who can't help herself, always got to make everything about her. It's always about Jada. Always about Jada. What a shame. That's not a wife material. Sorry. All right. You ready for Friday, huh?
Yes.
All right. See you on Friday.
Yes.
I mean Sunday.
Sunday, but we'll watch it on Friday, yeah.
All right. Well, have a good night.
You too. Good night, everyone.